to use the word goyim for the other nations, just like you have in almost every language on the earth some word for foreigner, that's not one of us, that's one of, them. But sometimes when you read it, it's better to just put the word nations or peoples, okay, or to remind yourself. It's not just talking about individual non-Jews. It's talking about people groups, ethnos in the Greek. So their failure, our transgression, salvation has come to the Gentiles in order to provoke us to jealousy, the unbelieving Israel to jealousy. And then I want you to pay attention to verse 12 and then verse 15, which basically say the same thing in slightly different language. Now, if their transgression is riches for the world, and their failure is riches for the nations, for the Gentiles, how much more their fullness? Okay? This is what I call the fullness formula. There's a whole teaching, I did some of it yesterday, on this word pleroma, fullness in Greek. We see it in Ephesians 4, which I skipped and I shouldn't have, but I might go back there. And in different places where there's a promise, Paul sees that this dynamic between Israel and the nations and the gospel and restoration is leading to a fullness, okay? And it's like, I say it's like a chemical formula, okay? I think they call it critical mass in chemistry, for those who remember that from high school or whatever, where there's a certain, the electrons and things start moving, and atoms and molecules start hitting each other, and when it hits a certain mass and certain energy, boom, it's an explosion. I mean, the simplest example is when, you turn on your water kettle, right? And it's room temperature water, and you hit the button, and then it starts moving, and there's some bubbles, and and then at 100 degrees, a transformation takes place, and it turns to steam, it turns to water. Okay? Keep that in mind. He says here, Jewish transgression, the majority Jewish no to Jesus has led to a glorious thing. He calls it riches for the Gentiles. Riches. Not money, riches. Good things. The gospel has come as a happy result of the Jewish rejection of Jesus. That's a heavy thought, one that's not easy to digest.